This is a video that will demonstrate basic brioche stitch in one color. We've already got some stitching on the needles here, and you can see how this makes this really nice deep rib look. It's reversible, it looks the same on both sides. Makes a very plush, stretchy fabric. It uses about twice as much yarn as working in stockinette stitch or regular knit one, purl one ribbing. So we've got an even number of stitches on the needle here, and you can see that there's groups across when I stretch it. Here's a single stitch. Here's a stitch that's associated with a yarn over, a single stitch that kind of looks like a purl, a knit with a yarn over, a purl, knit with a yarn over, purl, etc. So every other stitch has a yarn over associated with it, and you'll see how that happens. So we're going to start the first stitch. It looks like a purl, but really what it is, it's a slipped stitch associated with a yarn over. So having the yarn on the working yarn on the front of the work, you put your needle in this stitch as if to slip it purlwise, and you slip it off, and at the same time you make a yarn over around the needle. Then the next stitch has this yarn over from the previous row associated with it. You're going to knit the stitch and the yarn over together as one stitch. That's called a bark, or it's designated as BRK. Then we come up with what looks like a purl stitch. We're going to bring the yarn to the front, slip the needle as if to slip purlwise, put the yarn over, and makes a yarn over, all in one movement. Then we knit the next two stitches together, bring the yarn to the front, slip the stitch and make the yarn over at the same time, take the yarn to the back, knit the yarn over with the stitch. Bring the yarn to the front, slip the stitch and make the yarn over at the same time, and then work the next two together. Now, if you're a thrower, it looks like this. I'll switch the yarn to my other hand. You're going to bring the yarn to the front, slip this stitch, and let the yarn come to the back, which I've just brought it to the back like that, and then knit the next stitch. That makes that yarn over with that associated stitch and this knit two together. Bring the yarn to the front, slip this stitch, and the yarn immediately goes to the back. Knit the next two together, bring the yarn to the front, slip, knit these two together. So you can see it's pretty simple. It is quite different from any other knitting, but it's not difficult. When you get to the end of the row, you just turn. We have an even number of stitches on here, so the next row is exactly the same. Now, when you're counting rows, because we're slipping every other stitch, it takes two passes really to create one full row. So you'll feel like you've worked two rows and you only see one row on your knitting. So when you're counting the rows of stitches on your needle, you count these stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That took 18 passes, 2 passes for each apparent row to make that. You can see it looks exactly the same on the other side.